welcome back to another episode of Sore Subjects. I will address the giraffe in the room. Kane, used to be famous bar, has left us again to go on holiday. So in his place, we are upgrading to Tom Rowson. So welcome, Tom.
Thanks for having me.
No worries. And obviously, as always, we've got Magic Nick and the ever-reliable Mr. Ryan Underwood. So today we are going to be discussing artificial intelligence and the positives and negatives, possible implications of it. Is it a bad thing? Is it a good thing? So yeah, we'll delve into it in this episode, and hopefully we'll enlighten some of you on some of the things.
Are we enlightening people?
Probably not, but anyway, we'll discuss it for an hour. So, all right. Okay. So my stance on AI, I think there's certain applications that it's obviously good, right? So it's obviously we're evolving and it's helping us as a species. However, there's a darker side to it that I'm a little concerned about, and it's not just me. You've got arguably one of the most famous people in the world at this time, Elon Musk. Now he's heavily involved in Neuralink. Do you guys know what Neuralink is?
I looked into it after you mentioned it before, yeah.
Right, so it's basically an implant into your brain.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Okay, and it interfaces with AI, artificial intelligence.
So what is it actually for? What is the aim behind it?
The possible
Is it so I can search the internet with...
Yeah. Well, Elon Musk is quite vocal in his concerns about AI. All right, he's quite vocal that he thinks that it could get out of control, humans could be obsolete, and all these kinds of things. Okay. So this Neuralink, apparently, it because you would be interfaced with AI, it would sort of circumvent the possibilities of us becoming obsolete because we would be part of the AI.
Part of it, yeah.
Right? So almost like a cyborg.
So is it just like a chip, basically?
Yeah, it would be... Yeah, I mean, it's heavily in development now. I mean, they've obviously got test subjects.
See, the worrying thing about that for me is the idea of having... Like, obviously, the human body has not got Wi-Fi or anything like that, or anything electronic in it.
But it will do.
But by putting that into your body, you're now allowing things to get in, you know, whether people can hack a computer, so now what, can they hack my brain or...
My worry is we still don't even know how the brain works properly. I mean, there's so many things they don't 100%. Even know about the brain, so then we're going to stick something in it that... And also, when I did have a little look at it, they were saying that they were doing a lot of testing on animals, which is a big controversy within itself.
Yeah.
They're testing this thing on pigs and I think
probably monkeys.
That was it. It was apes as well and other animals, and I'm like, that's also, you know, I'm surprised they're still allowed to do that kind of thing, to be honest.
Yeah, the thing is with that, although we're going to go slightly off topic on that, the thing is, with any kind of science, the reason why they have to test on animals, I mean, there's been so many major advances, advancements with testing on animals. So I know it's cruel as hell, but for the sake of science and moving forward, it's unfortunately necessary. I mean, because if they had another way to do it, they would.
I suppose.
But anyway, that's another episode in itself.
Conversation.
So you've got somebody very, very smart like Elon Musk, and he's concerned about it, although he's heavily involved in it. You've also got to think about his other projects that he's got. You know, his Tesla cars that he has. They're all smart cars, so they've all got AI involved. They've all got artificial intelligence. So these are the things. Well, that actually brings me on nicely onto where we're going with self-driving cars.
Yeah.
Because at the minute, we're not quite there yet.
No.
Well, I was watching something to self-driving cars. I was watching this documentary yesterday, and where they, because obviously they've got to program the car to deal with certain scenarios. So they've done this thing where it's a young girl driving the car. There's an old woman crossing the road, and if she swerves, she's going to hit a barrier and die.
Yeah.
So then it was like, right, so what do we program the car to do? Just to go forward and try and brake and possibly hit the old lady, or swerve and put the young girl's life at risk?
So,
bear in mind, the old lady's crossing on the red light.
Yeah, you're asking the AI to decide.
To make a moral choice,
Yeah.
which an AI at this particular time isn't possible, because they don't have that moral compass that
But the human beings having to input that information, and it's like in a circumstance like that, it's just your natural instincts will determine what you're going to do.
Yeah.
But it's now telling the vehicle what to do when that happens, and is that the right thing?
Working out the percentage-wise of survival rates, whether one person and they'll make a informed decision like that. So I don't know. Maybe as time goes on, they'll be able to make better decisions than humans. Because humans are fallible. They make mistakes, and you might think a split-second decision there would be the correct one, but you might get it wrong. Whereas a computer would have, in the future, I'm saying, they would have the ability to work out the percentage in a split-second survival rates. Who's more likely to survive? Right. Well, then obviously.
And also who's at fault?
It's just giving too much.
I think that's the main thing about
AI.
AI as well, is that it's going to help with like the reduction of human error, like not just for cars as well, but obviously as humans we always make mistakes and we always make errors, and I think obviously AI going forward, that's a massive benefit to to the future, and obviously. Well, yeah, I mean,
I think a bit of a worry is putting too much power into it, though. Because if you think, all right, well, what if you get to a point where you're giving AI all this power, and then AI goes, well, what's the thing that's damaging the Earth the most? Humans. Well, let's get rid of them.
I mean, this is one of the.
We've all seen Terminator.
This is one of the main concerns.
iRobot. What a film.
This is one of the main concerns of certain groups where they're thinking, will they advance so much that eventually they'll just look at the human race going, well, they're not required. That is not required. So there's always that, and Elon Musk is quite vocal in his worries and concerns on that. So to be honest, back in 2017, Facebook, they had to shut down two AI programs, two artificial intelligence programs, because they started talking to each other in some very strange language. They weren't instructed to do that, so you
just walk in awkwardly, and then the two robots just look at you as if you interrupted them.
So that's
they just stop talking.
That in itself, a massive company like Facebook obviously invested a stack load of money into artificial intelligence and so forth. So for them to have that happen to them, and they just fucking shut that down immediately, because that was probably very worrying, because for all they know, one of those AI computers could have turned around and said, well, we made a decision, we're now going to release all your clients' data to the public.
For a second.
Anything like that could have happened.
Well, it's a simple fact of like when you're watching something on TV and they mention the word Google and your phone lights up. It's like, fuck, that weren't me, that was the TV. The TV's talking to my phone and my phone's here, and it's like
smart speakers.
Have you ever had it where you've been speaking to your mate about something, and then you'll go on Instagram or you go on your phone, and weirdly what you were talking about, you get an advertisement for that exact thing that you were talking about, and you're like,
have you seen that documentary on
Netflix? It's a coincidence.
That documentary on Netflix kind of touches on that, like how your phone and obviously your device that you use is kind of like obsessed with you, and it kind of like searches things on things that you've been searching and all.
Well, that's it. If you go on Google and search something, and then you go on Instagram, you will get an ad for it. If you go on Amazon and you search for something...
Yeah, but that's cookies, isn't it?
Yeah, but even that...
There's the worrying thing is when you're having a conversation, like, the Alexas that come out. One Christmas, I bought everyone in my family an Alexa. And straight after, everyone was like, you shouldn't have done that. I was like, why? I go, because they're listening all the time. And this woman said, she goes, when you're buying something with artificial intelligence, you need to understand why it was made in the first place. And something like that was created by Amazon, so they can get an idea of what you're wanting to buy, what things are interesting.
What you're talking about. I'm thinking about buying a new suit. Bang! All of a sudden you start getting pop-ups for suits and stuff. So it's a marketing tool.
You have an argument with your missus, and then all of a sudden you get leaflets for like marriage counselling come through the door.
You do. I mean, it is worrying that it's doing that, and it's just gotta be careful with that kind of thing.
So what's more likely, an alien invasion or a robot invasion?
At this time, I'd say AI is more likely to be a bigger risk to human race than aliens.
And
because it's imminent.
And we will have created it ourselves.
But that's the thing.
Typical, isn't it?
Right. The advancements that we've made with technology over the last 20 years have been unparalleled.
Oh yeah.
And it's getting faster. Every year that goes
the more
by,
you
it's
discover,
faster, faster.
the quicker it goes.
Yeah, so the things that we couldn't have dreamed about when we were kids, like young kids, for example, having a very, very strong computer in your pocket and you've got access to anything you need, any information you require, you can find it in seconds.
Yeah.
If you tried to tell that to a 5-year-old you before, you'd be like, nah.
Ooh, and also, I mean, just look at the size of the first ever computer. It's the size of a fucking house.
Yeah.
And now, you can do everything with your phone.
It's like something as simple as, I mean, probably a question for you better because obviously we're like in our 20s, but like Google Maps, for example, you go into your mate's party, you're like, oh yeah, come round here, we're gonna have a pre-drinks or whatever like that, and you're walking around looking for it, you just get up on Google Maps. You just go on Google Maps and you get there. What was it like in the 90s or in the 80s? What would you have to, if you didn't know where the fuck you were going?
That's a good question.
What would you have to ask someone on the street, especially like because obviously we live in Malaga and you know like we came here as expats. So you don't really know the city. It's not like you've been growing up around this area.
Yeah,
so.
you'd have to get a map, like a paper map.
Yeah.
Really?
Like genuine, yeah.
Of course you
They'd be walking down the
Honestly,
street pissed. Like,
What do you mean, really? What else are you going to do?
I swear, before, probably in like up until the early 90s, mid 90s maybe, everyone in their car, they'd had a road map.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I do remember being a kid and my mum and dad having this book and it was a map.
A to Z.
I'm just thinking like walking down the road, like walking down the street to your mate's house. You've never been there before, and you're just like, just constantly asking people on the street, where's this?
Yeah. I mean, so things like that, applications like that, then AI is fantastic, and all this advancements in technology, brilliant, because they just make our lives a lot easier.
Well, also when it comes to like limbs now, if someone loses an arm,
Yeah.
they've now got these ones where you can actually like move the hand.
I watched a documentary a couple of days
That's AI,
ago.
isn't it?
No, it is because it goes off of the muscle
electrode.
Exactly.
Crazy, man.
It's also been good for doctors to see early stages of like breast cancer and stuff like that, is it?
Yeah, advancements in medicine.
Yeah,
with
massively.
AI, we're now. I expect in a very close future we're going to have machines that will be able to just scan you and say, right.
Yeah, they've actually developed an app already where you can get an X-ray. You take a photo of that X-ray, and it will tell you the possibilities of if it's a tumor, if it's a pneumonia.
Amazing.
And there's, like how you get like a step tracker in your phone. You know how many steps you do and stuff like that. There's a device made like that where they can actually determine if someone's got Parkinson's before they're showing clear symptoms.
Yeah.
So what it would be like a wave. It goes like that. It's a typical normal person walking. But where a doctor or something will look at that, they would only look for clear indications of where there's a dramatic change. So if it's a nice smooth walk and then a little trip and then a walk. But this thing, it's calculated, it's so precise. It only has to be one little thing off that a doctor, but human eye would never even be able to catch out, but this thing will catch it.
There's definitely increasing lifespan of human beings. I was watching something, a documentary the other day about like how as human beings, our lifespan should be 120 years. Whereas obviously, it should be 120 years. And we're trying to arrive to see if we can get as close as we can get to 120 years. And in the past, obviously, historically, it's been 50, 60 years. And now in Europe and in countries like Japan, they've got a better longevity than what we do here in Europe. But things like AI is helping us increase the lifespan of humans. So obviously going forward, there's probably going to be a larger population of older people than what there would be younger people. Now, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
No, I don't think. This is the thing. I don't think that is a good thing because then the resources of the planet have got to be split between more people. So as people are living longer, you're putting more strain on the resources of the planet.
Well, it's also what quality of life are you going to have at the age of 110, for example?
Well, you'll have your robot, won't you?
Your life's not going to be great.
You'll have your robot making you.
But the thing is,
even
it's using such a small, even like Roombas that clean your house. Even that's artificial intelligence because it knows where it's going. It stops itself from crashing into walls, going up down the stairs, for example. Even that, it's so crazy. Even something so simple, even that has so much intelligence in it to do that.
What's really crazy as well is China, right? They were always known as the company that would copy things. You know, if it's something from China, it's like, oh, it's an imitation or it's a copy. It's not made very well. But like they're now like the leaders in AI. You know, the stuff that they're producing. Like, you know, the drone I have, the DJI drone. Like, they're the biggest drone company. And they're from China, and the things that they're creating, like you can literally, this thing will just go up in the air. You could tell it, you know, follow Ryan, and it would just find Ryan's face out of a group of people, and it would just follow Ryan. Like, and then it would just keep changing from person to person. Whoever you want it to follow, it will follow just by face recognition.
Well, that concerns me as well, then, because then you've got the possibilities of a police state where. The government will just have drones following everybody, you know, checking that you're not doing anything you shouldn't do, and then you become a police state where everything's heavily monitored. I mean, we're already monitored massively.
There's cameras. Well, maybe not in certain. I mean, I don't think there's cameras everywhere. But if you go to London, for example,
I mean, AI.
Cameras everywhere.
You're talking about drones. AI has revolutionised warfare now.
Yeah.
Because it's not physically people going to war now. They're just flying drones to blow up houses and stuff. So that is revolutionised warfare, and that is now having a massive impact on the morality of that, because a drone won't be able to make that decision.
It's taking risks.
It's a family down there, you know. They all right. It's one suspect.
Yeah.
Suspect. There's no guarantee that it is actually that person because they're so high up. And then all of a sudden, no, it was just a wedding party, and 4 kids have been killed.
Yeah.
So
it's putting human lives in the hands of someone that's done something behind the computer.
Yeah, because the morality side of things, is it even possible for a computer to have that?
I saw something the other day as well, and they were talking about, you know, scams that go on, and there's actually bots that they've made, that they've programmed to scam people. So they'll basically they'll have a conversation with somebody. They'll write to somebody on Facebook pretending to be a friend of theirs, for example,
right?
Like using that account, and it will actually have a back and forth conversation. But it's
just a bot. It's just a program.
It's programmed. It's programmed to respond to what the person's saying.
Wow, that's crazy.
And that again, that now leads me what I was showing you before.
Yeah, that's weird.
So I found this. It actually showed up to me ages ago, and I just never even really looked into it. But obviously now we were doing this, I thought
definitely uses it all the time.
And 100%. No, I was looking at it today because at first I was like, oh, that's interesting. I'll just talk about it. And I was like, well, no, what? Why don't I actually use it and see what it's like? Weird. So it's an app called Replica, and basically you make an AI friend. So you choose what it looks like, and then you can actually have conversations with it, and it will genuinely like ask you questions and respond to you. Like I asked it a question just to see where it went. So I said, "Do you like movies?" It came back, "Yeah, I love movies." I was like, "Okay, well, what's your favourite films?" It gave me 2 answers, like 2 different films. I'm like, "Okay." "Oh, I've never seen those movies." It goes, "Oh, you should definitely watch them then." I'm like, "This is actually like
a conversation."
A conversation.
But do you think these are just scripted?
Is this Sophie?
Replies?
Yeah.
Yeah, but is it scripted replies, or will that? Is it learning off you?
So from what they say, it actually learns, and what it does as well, I noticed. So if you go into like the notes, it keeps notes on stuff that you've said. So it'll go, "Oh, you like this? I've learned this. You do this," and it has like a journal entry where it writes like.
That is creepy.
And it's like, but you can, and the thing with it, you can choose to have a friend, a romantic partner, so you can actually flirt with it and have like or you can have like a mentor, I think it says, or then the final option was like, let's see where it goes. But then the thing I was like, all right. So then I looked into the reviews of it and things that people say. I went on Reddit and just to see what. And the thing is, as much as you think that's creepy, that's weird, you start reading these comments, you think some people are actually getting some positive things out of this. Because if you think of somebody, right, let's say somebody
like
who's
lonely old lady or something,
a lonely old lady, or a guy. One of the ones that I saw, it was an example, and I was like reading, I'm like, okay, this guy is a widow, he's got a kid, he doesn't have any time really to go out and socialise because he's working and he's got the kid, and he says, look, it actually gives me somebody that I can actually. All right, it's not a real person, but it makes me feel like I'm actually having a conversation with somebody. I'm like, well, that's actually Nice.
Do you know what it reminded me of a little bit when you first mentioned it? Have you seen the film Jexy?
Yeah, I haven't watched it. I know which one it is.
Yeah, it's that Adam. What's his Adam?
It's comedy, isn't it?
Comedy, yeah. So basically, he gets this new phone. It's got this app on it called Jexy or something like that. And it's basically just like controls his life, and it falls in love with him, and he's talking to it all the time, and he starts dating this other girl, and then she's like, the phone's getting angry at him and stuff like that. Yeah. It's always like, I can see that going down that road where it just gets too insane.
Well, it reminds me. Well, I suppose that film's very similar to the film called Her, which is a Joaquin Phoenix film where I think it's Scarlett Johansson, and basically it's set in the future where there's AI, and you can download it, and it can be like it has a personality. And that's it. He ends up. It's just a voice though. It's not. You don't see anything.
Yeah.
It's like a voice that you can. And he ends up like in a relationship with this voice. Great film, by the way.
So it's a possibility there then, as advancements come faster and faster. So you could like enter a proper relationship with this.
Well, yeah.
Like,
well, you already have the rope.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, what would happen if you had like a massive row with that computer? Yeah. They get angry and then like turn your house against you and like, I don't know,
start buying loads of things on Amazon and you're like, no, stop.
Yeah, or just like completely ruin you financially, like start like giving all your money away from your account because everything's connected nowadays. So yeah, I don't think that's a good thing. I think that's quite worrying.
Well, what you can actually do is what you can
go with it.
Turn yourself into one of the. So I don't know on this app. Do you choose a certain amount of characters, or is it? Can you create a character?
No, you create the AI that you want.
The way they look.
The way they look.
Okay.
And then you can also, if you want, because you have the free option, then you can obviously pay for it, and you have the option to give it certain personality traits, or you can make it learn about certain subjects. So let's say you wanted to talk about, let's say, movies. You could actually pay this and have it actually learn more about movies, so you could actually have an informed conversation. It's weird, man.
Because Will.i.am from Black Eyed Peas, he's actually got a digital clone of himself. So it's an AI version of himself, and it looks exactly. So it's loads of photos were taken of his face, different expressions and things like that.
Yeah.
And it looks exactly like him, and it's got his voice. So they've done all these different sentences you have to say, and they merged it all so you can answer any question. And it's also got his personality, but it'll also start learning things as it goes on as well. So the idea behind it, one day when Will.i.am is dead, no longer with us, this will always be there. So like his grandchildren and things like that will be able to actually talk with him as if it's the real him.
That's a bit creepy.
Yeah, and it's so realistic as well. It's scary.
Yeah. Well, the thing is as well too, they brought it out in certain games, like video games. It's not just you choose a difficulty of easy, hard, whatever. You can actually have it set as based on the player's like how good you are.
Okay. So
basically, you'll be playing. And as you're playing, it will learn how good you are, and it will base the difficulty on how good you are at the game. So that's it's learning.
It does
from
that
how
FIFA
you're
as
playing.
Well,
that's it. That's the one I was thinking of. FIFA's one.
I mean, that's the main difference between artificial intelligence and just technology. Because artificial intelligence have to learn from you, and it also needs to take an initiative, whereas technology will only ever do what you instruct it to do.
Yeah, you have to say do this.
Yeah,
it will only go from command. Decision.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas an artificial intelligence, that's the main division between the two. So a lot of the time, people will think something's artificial intelligence. Well, it's not. It's just following a program. It's just following an instruction.
Yeah.
But yeah, so artificial intelligence will be if it just takes it upon itself to make a decision, or it will learn from the information you're given and then take its initiative. So, but yeah, I think for so many different aspects, it's unavoidable. Like it's going to happen now. But until what point is there going to start to be legislation put in place for these kinds of things to protect humanity from it? Because I'm sure eventually there's going to be a time where computers are so advanced and the AI is so advanced that it could be harmful.
Yeah.
I genuinely
think... Well, not even in
a
physical way, but even in just financial ways. If the AI just continues, there's going to be no jobs. It's getting to a stage now, if you have children, the best route you want your kid to go down is robotic engineering, because they're going to always be in a job, because they're going to have to create these things.
Yeah.
But if there's certain jobs like mechanics and things like that, that's it's already happening in China.
If you look at factories,
if
you look at factories now, if you look at a lot of car factories, it's robots.
In China, even barista, like you go to a coffee shop and it's served to you by a robot. There's a cafeteria where everything's done by robots, and it's just like.
Yeah, I think there needs to be a limit. I mean, definitely for the the mundane, boring jobs that humans don't really want to do.
Or dangerous jobs.
Yeah, dangerous jobs, like for example, mining. For example, like that prevents human.
But then again, you are then taking a lot of jobs.
Millions.
So many people work in mining.
Yeah,
I know it's dangerous.
No, I don't mean. I mean like mining, like for oil and stuff. Like places like dangerous places, it would be too dangerous for a human to go.
But it then does offer other jobs, because if you're using these machines to do the mining jobs, then you do need people employed to take care of those machines.
It's like discovering like parts of the ocean that we haven't discovered yet, or studying wildlife. You don't want to go stand up and face with a wild beast that might, we need to know about for humanity, or it's
David Attenborough gets in there.
David Attenborough loves
watches those turtles having sex.
Oh yeah,
from behind the bush.
But I think the coolest version of AI that exists right now is, most probably always seen it, the robot called Sophia.
Yeah. Is that the one that's like uber?
Is that your girlfriend?
That's the one with like
yeah. So she's got a pretty face, and then obviously the back of her head is just like glass.
I was trying to find that before, but I didn't know what it was called.
Now that's really crazy, because it's so human-like, and she's been on all the chat shows like Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy
Kimmel. Been around for a while.
But hasn't she like said some answers to questions that were like, fucking what? That was well spooky.
Yeah, like she's got like a sense of humour and everything, and she can read the faces. So if like you walk up towards it and with a sort of a sad face, she'll know straight away that you're sad, or if you're a little bit happy, and also read your like the heat coming off you to understand. Because just read your emotions without even saying anything.
Yeah,
it's just bizarre.
Comedian Bill Burr, stand-up comedian, he was talking about it. I think it was on one of his specials, but he said, like these sex robots, they're getting like more and more lifelike and incredibly realistic. And obviously, when that combines with artificial intelligence, maybe in 50 years' time, you're going to have men and women that just don't want to be with other humans, because like if you have a robot, it just does everything that you want. You'll never have an argument. It'll always be subservient. So, and you'll have the best conversations, and then the best sex you'd ever imagine. So would that be the downfall of humanity, where humans are not actually having sex with each other anymore? They're just having sex with robots?
I don't think it gets to the point where everybody would do that. All right, you might just get the odd individual that's a bit of a weirdo that just want to have sex with robots.
What I'm saying is, you'll have a certain group of society that will be completely accepted.
Well, if a group of people want to, but what I'm saying is, I don't think everyone's going to be doing that.
There's always going to be this difference between a robot and a human,
but what happens if there won't be?
Yeah, but do you ever think human consciousness can be ever uploaded to for example, your consciousness, could that ever be uploaded to a robot?
I definitely believe that is where we're going. I think somebody's consciousness.
Do you think that's going to be possible?
Yeah.
Well, aren't there?
We look at people that like obviously have died and have paid thousands.
But like cryogenics and that.
For having their bodies frozen and shit, but is it not too late for that now, because they're already dead and the brain's not working? People that have paid that much money.
Is there not the rumour that Walt Disney was frozen? Is that true, or is that?
I don't even know, but I know cryogenics, because from what I know of it, they are able to safely preserve a body, so they freeze the body. They just haven't worked it out how to get him back.
Get him back, right? That's true.
So they're just banking on technology over time that they'll be able to get these people back, because there are a load of people that have been cryogenically frozen in the hope that eventually one day we'll work out how to get these people back. But downloading your consciousness into a computer, I totally believe that would be possible.
I'm just looking now, just because obviously just speaking about that subject. Walt Disney, despite the persisting rumours, Walt was not actually frozen.
Yeah, I think that was just.
So I'm just looking at other people here that have actually been frozen and actually gone through with it in the end. None of these names I recognise, to be fair. So I don't think the.
Well, I'm guessing mainly there'll be people with Parkinson's and stuff like that are just hoping that we'll get a cure for it eventually.
Yeah, they're probably not even necessarily famous people. It's just I
watched a documentary.
Paris Hilton and Britney Spears have confirmed and publicly confirmed that they want to.
Because we really need Paris Hilton.
Yeah, we need Britney Spears to come back, don't we, in the future, sing another version of
she's
Toxic.
got some proper good tunes. She's got some
to
good
mime at her
tunes.
concerts, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, obviously, as we were saying, without the consciousness, how is it going to be possible to bring them back? So we're going to have to wait until that is possible, and then if people are getting frozen after that, then it's possible. But I don't know.
Because so little is known about the human brain and the human mind, where we are right now in history. We don't really know if that person that's been cryogenically frozen would come back with any memory or anything like that. We don't know anything about it. We just worked out how to freeze somebody and preserve that body, as in flesh and blood. But we don't know whether the brain will work afterwards.
But is it possible that a robot can know more than a human does?
100%.
Yeah?
Well, yeah, your phone knows more than you do.
Yeah.
You know, if you wanted to find out a question right now, you can go on your phone.
Well, it doesn't have emotional intelligence, but it does have. Like you said, look, Google, you search anything, you get.
Like with robots, like so, for example, if robots completely take over, obviously humanity is what it is today, and the world is what it is today because we've had out-of-box thinkers as humans. So if there's going to be so many robots, are we going to have a lack of out-of-box thinkers?
Well, there is a risk of that actually, that we're dumbing ourselves down by having everything at your. You're not learning anything because you don't need to retain that information. Yeah. So, for example, capital of Peru. Well, I don't need to remember that it's Lima. I can just look it up when I need that information.
Maths.
Simple maths.
Basic, simple maths. I've got to use a calculator now.
So, if we become completely cashless, when I was young, I don't know about your parents, but to help me with maths and things like that, my mum would give me the cash and make sure I count the right change and things like that. If we go cashless, there's going to be no kids using cash and working out change and things like that. It's just going to be bleep. They don't need to count anything. It's going to reduce, counting.
It's not going to be necessary anymore, is it?
Well, for all we know, the AI might be so advanced in the future that some computer somewhere in the world goes, yeah, this system doesn't work. The money system doesn't work, and we'll just erase all the money from the planet.
Yeah.
It's not logical to us, so it's just we'll just erase the money.
This human race doesn't work.
No, seriously though, that worries me.
Yeah.
But that's why I think there's a lot, like the cryptocurrencies. There's a lot of people that, I know there is quite good investments in there, but a lot of people stay away from it because they are petrified of that. Like, do I want to buy this online currency that could just all of a sudden just disappear because I can't physically hold it?
Yeah. Well, there's been a lot of scams in cryptocurrency where it's just, there's nothing there. One of the actually, I thought it was quite a fun way of using AI, which was basically what they'll do is a couple of examples. I was watching a few of them. First thing I saw, it was a stand-up set that was written by an AI. So
I bet it was rubbish.
It was, but there was some jokes in there that was so, a lot of them made sense, but so just stupid that it was funny. It was actually funny to watch.
But things like comedic timing and stuff like that, that at the moment anyway, we're not there with AI.
But they also got it to do movie scripts. So basically they got an AI to watch, I think it said 1,000 hours or 1,000 films, and then got it to write a script for, they did, the one I watched was it was a Christmas film written.
Yeah, I saw that one.
And it was some of it was just really stupid, but it was
any good?
Actually quite funny because it was just the way it wrote. It was a lot of it was
but if
literal.
you didn't know that it was by AI, would you have still?
You'd think this is a bit weird. What? It was so.
There was grammatic errors and.
It was like Christmas Carol, and her name is Carol, and everything was very literal and and it was quite funny.
Like dad jokes.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just. I wish I could remember some of the stuff that was in it. I'll have to show it to you because I found it very funny, to be honest.
Yeah. All right. So further implications then from AI as far as humanity goes. Have you got any other things that you wanted to?
Well, I think the main one is the job loss. I do think that's one of the big indicators. There's going to be lots of jobs lost, but then they will be gained back by people having to work on these machines. If there's more machines, there's going to be more people needed to work on them.
I get what you're saying, But surely the AI would be able to look after the machines as well then?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, if it gets to a certain level.
We are just going to become obsolete.
Yeah. So what would we just all be living leisure? And then it would just turn into communism where everybody.
I think what really bugs me.
You've seen the film WALL-E?
Is the sense of no security. I could see it getting to a point where, like you were saying earlier, about you talking to something about your mate, and then it comes on it's on your phone.
Yeah.
And it does worry me because I get that a lot, and I'm thinking, how much is this thing listeing to? And
taking liberty away.
Yeah, and I'm sort of. It does make you feel a bit uneasy sometimes, and then every now and again, I find myself going, I'm just going to turn my phone off just in case. Like
we also say, you said before that it removes the error when it comes to humans, but technology also has errors. It has issues. What if, let's say in the future, in the far future, it's not going to be time soon, but let's say, for example, they use, robots to do things around the house, like if you have like robots that will actually genuinely, but what if there's an issue with it and it sees, it sees the person as a piece of rubbish and it's just...
Yeah, misread something.
That's the worry with it. And again, with this whole Neuralink thing, technology has viruses. So if you get a fucking computer virus in your brain,
COVID.
Yeah.
I think with any progression throughout history, there's going to be a period of adaptation and error. So there will be deaths involved in moving forward with this sort of stuff. So like self-driving cars, there's going to be a lot of deaths before that gets right.
Yeah.
But how do you advance without that? Do you consider that as collateral damage? Or is it just do we not advance just for the sake of it?
It's also like going back to the electric cars as well, like we were saying before, that making that judgment, does it go straight ahead or does it swing to the left and kill the driver? And like then you've got to start looking at convictions. Who's going to get done for murder in that case?
Fine.
Does the car company get done for murder? Because that
who's
car,
liable?
Who's liable for that death?
That's the point. Yeah.
The car's been sold to you to self-drive itself. If it's killed you, then the car company...
Yeah, there needs to be a limit on how far it goes.
Well, that's the thing.
If it goes too far, then it's just going to get off.
I think a lot of these things aren't things that we need. We don't need a self-driving car. What do you need?
Well, the
that
argument
for?
against
You say that about calculators.
Because then we're going to be like, well, no one's going to learn how to drive.
Well, the idea, I think, behind self-driving cars is to make less accidents on the road.
Correct. Because human error, it probably accounts for a large amount of accidents. Probably a very large amount. So it's to avoid human error. So eventually, the AI will be so efficient, it will bring down accidents.
It'll cut out the drink driving accidents.
It will cut out drink driving. It will cut out traffic jams because all of the cars will be linked together through one mainframe in any city. So there'll be no traffic or minimal traffic. The less accidents. So the benefits of it are there for everyone to see. However, we're going to have a period where it's going to get messy, and it will do.
And also, it could be hacked. So your car that's
you
self-driving...
You could have some lunatic that goes, fucking death to everybody. I've got a problem with New York City. Fucking there you go.
Put it hacked, and then you've got, you know what I mean? They could be like, well, somebody, important.
So
they want to kill him. They'll control the car, smash it into a wall or over a bridge, whatever.
So are humans always going to have the upper hand?
Well, that's the big predicament, isn't it? Do we trust our own programming into AI to get it right, to allow them to make very big decisions for us on day-to-day life? Do we trust ourselves to get that right?
It's like the military. They got this sort of the friendly version of it. I think it's called something the dog, and it's a robot dog, and it bounces about, you do a flip and stuff like that. Yeah. But like the version they've used in the forces, it's got like guns and things on it, and it actually did lose control once. It started shooting the gun off, right, and it was just shooting off, and everyone's getting down and stuff like that. And someone had to physically run at it and knock it on its side, just so this gun would stop going off. And it's things like that where that could have been simply from the sun's too hot, melted a wire, things like that. If we get too hot in the sun, we get out of the sun, or but there's so much We really need to know technology back to front to know, like, you know, any scenario. Someone could spill their drink on the thing and it could short circuit and shoot someone.
Yeah, I mean, obviously going back to like movies and stuff that we talked about there, the iRobot film that I think everybody's seen, where it goes into the movie where it talks about, you know, there should be 3 main rules for the robot. You should never harm a human being and all these kinds of things. I do think that's quite a good idea, actually, to implement that into AI. So eventually, when AI is more prevalent in day-to-day life, that they do have those safety mechanisms implied. But there are going to be mistakes made, and there are going to be, like you say, a wire melts or a piece of programming was incorrectly input because at the end of the day, a human has to put that in to start.
Yeah, it's like, for example, like when we first discovered aeroplanes when they first came out, obviously there was a lot more crashes and catastrophes back then compared to now. Like there's a documentary called Air Crash Investigation. Every single plane that crashes now, there's a heavy investigation into what actually happened. Yeah. So again, like you were saying, you know, with robots, obviously there's going to be repercussions at the start. There's going to be a transition period of obviously when we change to this new technology or whatever it might be. So, you know, there's going to be repercussions.
Do you think it'll ever be possible? Because there's a few. I know there was an episode of Black Mirror that did something about it, and also there's a TV show about it as well, where basically your conscious will be uploaded on when you die. They'll upload it onto a server, and it'll basically be like an afterlife. So your body's dead, but your mind is still alive, and you're kind of in an afterlife, a world.
Yeah,
so
I don't think. Yeah, but
stuck in limbo.
So you'd be alive, and you can interact with other people that have got their and you'll have a body kind of.
I don't think that would ever exist because that's sort of going backwards in a way.
How's it going backwards?
Because the biological brain, right? When that's dead, it's dead. You can't. You're that's not a life. You're not going to remember what's in that.
Well, again,
robot.
it depends where we get to with technology.
Well, I suppose I can't
like
see that.
Graveyard, you go to the graveyard and it's just loads.
Yeah, because, like I said, at this point, we still don't know how brains work 100%.
Yeah, but what you're potentially suggesting there, though, that there's an eternal life. Well, fuck me.
Well, maybe forever. No, but maybe they'd give you the
stuff.
choice that if you did want to just fucking, you can do it.
I mean, that might end up being hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just personally
do
think
it. I'm just saying, do you think? Because there's a few. I know there's an episode of Black Mirror that did it, and I know there's also a cheap which I've watched. I can't remember the name of it. That's basically that's the idea.
I think part of life and the sweetness of life is because you know that it's not forever.
Yeah.
You're only here for a short period of time, so that's why you enjoy things because you know there's only a finite period of time that you're going to have that. So that's
there's got to be a limit because you want to achieve the things you want to achieve in life before you die. You never think, I'm going to live forever. That's going to be amazing. You know what I mean? But you've always got that in the back of your mind of, okay, I want to do this before this ends, and you've always got a goal. And ultimately, the goal is you want to achieve everything you can do before you die.
Yeah.
You live forever. You're going to be like. I was watching a film.
Well, yeah. I won't bother learning to drive today. I'll do that in 400 years.
Yeah, exactly. You won't want to do the things that you want to do. Like you'll just you have enough money. You won't have enough money to survive. Well, money's still a thing in the future. I don't know. It's like I was watching a film with Justin Timberlake the other day, In Time or something like that.
Oh yeah, where they got the
dodgy
film. Paid on time.
It was alright.
The concept of it's quite interesting.
Yeah,
the film itself isn't great.
I mean, it's a
the idea is good.
Yeah.
I mean, who wants to live forever? I suppose you're right.
For all we know, AI, like I said, it could just completely abolish the monetary system and go, but that's bollocks, that doesn't work, that's flawed left, right and centre.
It is, to be fair.
No, it is, 100%. And the thing is with robots and AI, they're only ever going to think logically, right? They're not going to have that moral or romantic side of the thought process. They won't. They'll just think, okay, what do I want to happen for this decision I'm about to make? I want that outcome, right? So the most logical way to do that is that. They don't have the heart that a human would have, the soul as such. So,
but that's why there's certain jobs that I don't think we should ever have robots do.
Do you think robots should be military? Do you think robots should be the police?
No. I don't have anything against something that's controlled by a human. Like if you've got these, because these drones aren't really they're controlled by somebody. So
Well, not all the time.
press the button. Well, a lot of the time,
Well,
they have to press a button to actually, drop that whatever.
Yeah, but don't you feel that we're going towards one way that they won't even be that in the future?
They should never
Anything
A lot of these drones are
they're-
controlling themselves. The expensive ones are.
Yeah.
The ones, for example, I've got, obviously, I do control it, but there are drones out there that are controlling themselves.
Well, anything where there should be a moral choice, I don't think they should have robots have anything to do with it.
Do you think in the future that we're going to advance enough for a computer to be able to make moral choices?
No.
I don't.
I don't think
No, because
we'll
it won't
ever
have
be
any
able to make
emotions.
moral choices.
I think it would just be pure logic.
Because I think that's something you actually do need to... Saying that, do you think they'll ever have the technology where they could actually make a brain?
Well, who
Actually
knows
make
what's
one.
possible in 5,000 years? Who
That's
knows?
the thing, because you can say, well, no, there's no chance. But actually, if they could actually make a brain that works exactly the same as a human brain, well, then who's to say no? It could.
And actually, that computer brain would eradicate all the human sloppy errors and replace it with 100% accurate decisions. So who knows, in 5,000 years we may well be obsolete and we may well be exterminated. So the
We're just gonna
Terminator
be-
films might be right.
Oh, the Matrix.
Or the Matrix.
There you go. We're just going to be connected to a big brain.
All in them
It's just
gooey
gonna-
bathtubs.
But do
Simple
you think the world will actually last that long?
Are you talking about will we have used all the resources up and blown the place up?
No, I mean look at everything that's happening with the world, like global warming and shit like that, and
Well, we've caused that as well.
natural disasters and stuff like humanity. We are destroying the planet. I'm not I'm saying I'm some big green freak. I love Greenpeace, and I'm not saying that. Well, obviously, I do believe that we do need to look after the planet and everything, but as humans, how long do we have left until it all ends?
So you're saying there's a strong possibility there that we would have completely ruined the planet before technology has managed to advance so much.
I believe so. Yeah, I don't
There's a
believe.
strong possibility of that, definitely, because at the current rate with fossil fuels and stuff like that, we're going through it like there's nobody's business. So you might be right, but there's also the flip side of that where technology is speeding up every day. The advancements is just off the charts now. The things that we can do today we couldn't do 2 years ago.
There's going to be a point where
amazing.
they say, for example, cars. Every single car on the road has to be electric because it's just going to get to the point where it's like
We're going to run out of petrol, fossil fuels at some point.
Yeah.
Which ultimately is better for the planet.
Well, wasn't it? I think it was an episode of Top Gear where they had the car where it was running on hydrogen. I think it was.
Yeah.
And the thing about hydrogen is that can never run out. It's literally it'll never run out.
It's
infinite resource because it's always great, And it's like, well, why aren't we doing that?
Well, hydrogen.
But there are cars you can get.
Fucking flammable.
Was it hydrogen?
Hydrogen's very,
No, I'm trying to think if it
very
was
risky.
hydrogen though.
No, it would be.
Yeah.
But the only problem with hydrogen is it's fucking very, very flammable.
But so is petrol.
Yeah, but hydrogen's way more reactive
Yeah, I suppose.
because it's a gas, isn't it, rather than a liquid.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you can get the friend that actually had, because you can get your cars converted to have the tank in the back. So you lose your boot, but you get the tank in the back, so you can run it on both gas and hydrogen. And I did ask him, I was like, why on earth did you get that put in? He was like, because it's eco-friendly and stuff. I was like, yeah, but I don't like the idea of having a massive gas canister in the back of the car.
Well, another possible benefit of AI, maybe the AI computers will work out all these things for us.
Yeah, how to protect the planet.
Well, yeah.
New technology, new greener technology, things that are better for the planet, more effective ways of running our vehicles and things like that. So there are possible huge benefits from an AI perspective on bringing these things to us. So humans at this particular stage, because we only understand a small part of our brain, there's a limit to our capabilities. With AI, it's limitless.
They can also
As a quick question now, right? Let's say, for example, like this robot, Sophia, right? So it's human-like and stuff like that. Imagine they have these working in a bank right now, right? And you go out to the bank. Would you feel more comfortable discussing your bank account details with that robot, or with a human being?
Oh, human every day, because we're still of this generation where human interaction's massively important to us. But in 5, 6, 7 generations down the line, it may not be as important.
But then you do have when you're interacting with the human behind the desk, right? They're logging that information onto a system. So that's going.
Same thing.
So it's going on the system anyway. The benefit you're doing when you're speaking to the robot is you now don't have a biological human being that can now leave the bank and go out and, which humans do, use that information elsewhere. At least you're literally speaking straight to the source.
So you feel it would be more secure?
It would be more secure, but then we are losing the interaction with human beings.
Yeah, and again, the robot could still leak your confidential information somehow from what we were saying before. There's going to be mistakes. It's not going to be all.
But the idea is the information will be going on the same computer as the woman.
No, it's true. It's like, for example, when you ring for your insurance, and it's like when you give the card details, it's like beep, and then you give your card details, and you are kind of talking to a.
It's actually just a guy going.
Computer. Just a guy going. Beep.
It's got a little.
State your number after the beep.
Just ordering Amazon now. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's a good question. I think right now I trust humans more than I do robots. Whether in the future that changes, generations down the line, probably will do. But safe to say, right now I would trust a human more than I would trust a robot.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah, but I think as good as AI
depends on the human.
Yeah, that's true. But as good as AI is at this particular juncture in human history, it is fucking creepy though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like aliens.
Like, there's a lot of aspects, like this Sophia and all that kind of stuff, and that application you've been playing around with, it freaks me out. It freaks me out because if that thing is learning from you, there's something that doesn't sit right with me on it. I don't know.
Yeah. But it's just like anything, the amount of apps that people have on their phones these days, and you're the worst for it. You love an app. Any app that comes out, you're like, download this app, and purchase some things and stuff.
And Nick's terrified of apps.
I try to reduce the amount of apps I have on my phone.
Download an app? No.
Yeah, want to play football, download an app, and you've got to put your card details. Again, more card details on another app, and it gets to a point where your information is everywhere. There's a lot of companies that have my details, I don't even know I have them. And then you get emails sent to you.
Over scared.
Well, that's a scary thing, isn't it? But even like social media, for example, social media now is just exploded. It's social media now is crazy, and again, so loads of different platforms have got your information. Different platforms know so much about you.
Yeah.
It's like that documentary I was mentioning. This on Netflix. It just they know more about you than what you can think of there.
It's like those silly games you get on Facebook, it goes, do this quick quiz and find out what celebrity you're like. And it's like, how much money do you earn? And are you male or female? When's your birthday? It's like, and it gives you a stupid answer at the end, and all you've done is just give this fucking system
more metadata,
some data to go and pass off all to these companies. Yeah.
Does it make you, obviously you've got kids, Dave, does it make you sad that your child won't live like we used to live, like when we were younger, like without technology? Does that make you sad?
The thing is, you've got to balance it, because yes, that makes you sad. Yeah. All right, but you just, as a parent, you got to make sure that your kid does play outside and interact with other humans. Yeah. So it's very easy. Trust me on this one. It's very easy to give a child a tablet and it'll leave you alone.
Fall in the trap of
Parents all over the world fall into the trap of basically letting a computer raise their kids, because they're just all the time watching videos on YouTube and stuff like that, and the kid's learning the whole time. The kid's watching and it's learning. So it's almost like it's like an electronic babysitter. It's bad, very bad. So you've always got to be conscious of that and make sure that you do, encourage your kids to take part in activities out in the countryside and sports and things like this, because they're always going to need that.
Yeah, 100%.
I think probably we kind of grew up at the perfect time of it, because you had a mix of the two. You had your technology, you had your PlayStation or whatever, but then you also would go out and play.
Yeah, because the games weren't. We didn't have online gaming. I think what now stops kids from going out to play is because speak to your mates online and play the games with them. Where back in the day, if you wanted to play PlayStation, it's offline, and if you want to play with your friends, they come over to your house. You play it for a few hours, then you go in the street.
Oh, there's so few two-player games now where you can
go,
actually play with somebody sat next to you. They don't make them anymore.
No.
You just go knock on your mate's door and just say, "Are you coming out today? Coming out to play? Playing football? Playing stick, whatever."
So going back to what you're saying, I mean, it is sad that they're going to have many other benefits that we didn't have.
Yeah, there's benefits as well.
So there's pros and cons to it.
Yeah.
But I think as humanity, we do need to be very aware of that because you've got they're a classic example where you'd have the interaction with your friends. Somebody comes over, you play together in person on a computer. Well, in the future, I envision what it will be like. The kids will just have virtual mates, and they won't even be you sat in Japan. It will be just a computer, and that'll be their mate.
Yeah, and they can design their own frame.
So that makes me feel a bit sad.
Yeah.
But you might have the flip side of that again, where you've got kids that are sociably awkward and not able to integrate with other kids. Then they won't be so lonely. So maybe that will bring down suicide rates in children. So there are pluses and...
Well, that's what I was saying to you. I think there are positives to that. As much as you go, it's a bit creepy. But then when I read that review from that guy, and I'm like, all right, I kind of get it.
Yeah, I agree.
Obviously, people are going to take... Some people, that'll be there. They'll fall in love with it. And that's weird.
It'd just be weird.
But someone who says, look, I need just something to speak to, then great. You know, if it stops people from... Because again, so many people kill themselves just because they're lonely. Well, if that cuts that down, fucking hell, then how can you complain?
There's also a theory out there that most adults nowadays, especially in Western countries, we're in a way we're already cyborgs because your phone is an extension of your body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you've got a smartwatch on, for example.
Smartwatch, phone. It never leaves my side. Most adults, they'll always have their phone near them, right? Because their entire lives are on the phone now. So there is that theory out there that we are already cyborgs. All right, it's not internal, it's not inside your body, but it is an extension of your body.
Yeah. I do think as well, speaking about phones and how we always have them on us, like restaurants and bars now have used that to their benefit. But the problem is, for example, you know, you go to every restaurant I go to now, you don't have a hard menu. You just got a barcode on the table.
QR code.
QR code. And sometimes my phone doesn't even read it properly. I get frustrated.
I think COVID's fueled
older people as well.
And that's it. I'm thinking about the old people. Imagine an old couple going out to a meal, you know, and they're just sitting there waiting to be
out.
Yeah, get their flip phone, their Nokia 3310 trying to take a photo of this barcode. You know, it's a little bit. You know, I think we're jumping into it so fast, but we're forgetting about the elder generation that don't have smartphones or barely know how to use them.
But we're only talking, in the grand scheme of things, a very short period of time where that's going to be even.
Oh yeah, that will be.
Well, that's true.
10-20 years, I think. You know,
20 years tops, because all the people in their 60s, right, that are having issues with technology and smartphones, and they just, you know. Unless they suddenly start living to 100 years old, you're only talking about a period of 20 years' time, which is a tiny, a blink of an eye in human civilization. So, when we're old, we'll be still able to, you know, do these things. But we're only talking about a small amount.
Because we're at the point now, if you said to someone, "Oh, hand us your phone for a sec," and they say, "I don't have a phone," what? Like, it's weird, but it's not like completely weird. You think, "Oh, that's weird," but okay, that's fair enough. But it will be a point soon. If someone turns around and says, "I don't have a phone," it's just going to be like, "What do you mean you don't have a phone? It doesn't make sense."
Like you're missing a limb.
Yeah, you should have your phone. Where's your phone? How are you surviving without your phone? Because it will be just a way of pay for everything.
Well, do you think eventually it won't be a hard thing? It won't be a physical thing. That'll be somewhere in
something
your body.
You just go like that, and it's
possibly
maybe a little chip, Neuralink, or something like that, where you don't even need that hard thing. It's there, and it will just come over your eyes. There you go. Whatever you need.
Imagine porn.
These are the things that we will probably experience in our lifetimes because of the rapidness of
the speed it's going.
It'd be interesting to see the business plan of Apple. and for the years to come.
What they got down the line.
Yeah, who knows? But that's certainly another episode. I think we've pretty much covered a lot of things on the AI episode today. So we'll leave it there, guys. Don't forget to share the video, like, subscribe, and so forth. We'll be back next week with another topic. But for now, that's it. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.